Uh, Basically, China coronavirus, counter-terrorism, cyber-security, and digital policy, defense. ఇక్కడ వరకు అయితే అయినట్టు.
Okay.
Okay. Venezuela. Basically, I would like to touch base on climate because it's going to affect internals of the country and coronavirus, of course. Climate and energy. Basically, I would like to touch base on climate. Anybody came, Lalej?
Yes, sir.
Any others came or no, not yet? Oh, everybody came. Rao, Krishna, and one more person. Vishal is supposed to be coming. Hi, good evening, Miss Panos. How are you?
Oh, fine, thank you. And yourself?
Oh, very good, very good. Your video is not seen, Miss Panos.
Okay, let me see. Can
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Your background is super.
Okay, that is my vacation, and the sun comes up tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, rotate the camera.
What is it, Lalesh? Yeah. You have to tilt the camera like in the
Rotate it horizontal.
Yeah, rotate it horizontally like this, not like this. Can you keep your camera like this, Ms. Panos? Yeah, that is perfect. Yeah, rotate it horizontally like this, not like this. Can you keep your camera like this, Ms. Panos?
Let's see.
Yeah, that is perfect. Hello, you are joining, right, Vishal? Okay. You're waiting? Oh, okay. Okay, fine then. I'm admitting.
And that's okay.
Yeah, admitted. Yeah, this is better. Little far away from camera, usually, like, because what happens is your head is cutting. Like, yeah, the little far will be better. Yeah, this is fine.
I'm doing this on my phone. I would prefer on my computer.
But this is your phone is more clearer than your computer. Last time you were on computer, it looks so it was not so very well.
Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, it's very good.
I would prefer on my computer. But this is
సార్ మీరు కొంచెం లెఫ్ట్ లో ఉంటే మేము ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ
Okay.
బాడీ రైట్ సైడ్ కి రొటేట్.
So this is camera tilting. It looks so different. I'm observing what happens. Okay. Okay now.
హెడ్ రూమ్ బాగా ఎక్కువైపోయింది, ఇంకొంచెం పెంచండి. ల్యాప్టాప్ ని డౌన్ చేయండి, ల్యాప్టాప్ ని చిన్న డౌన్ చేయండి.
అంటే హెడ్ ఇంకా ఎక్కువ కావాలా, రూమ్ కావాలా? దిస్ ఇస్ ఫైన్.
ఎక్కువ కాదు, తగ్గించండి.
తగ్గించాలంటే నేను ముందుకు రావాలి. This camera doesn't have zoom in zoom outs. Maybe I need to. Okay now?
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, we will have 10 minutes for each of the things. Like first we will start with climate change, basically what it affects and what America wants to do, and then what will be effect on people in America, and what is that it is going to achieve. Something like that.
Sir, ready, sir? 1 minute.
Oh, okay, I'm ready. Share the screen.
Ma'am, ready? Sir, you.
Ma'am, you're ready?
I don't know what happened.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
I don't know what happened to my screen.
No, we are able to see you and we are able to listen to you.
Okay, because I cannot see anybody.
Oh, you cannot see anybody? Maybe.
Oh, now I see you.
Okay.
ఇప్పుడు హెడ్ కట్ అయిపోతుంది.
Your head is cutting. You have to little bit tilt the camera, or you have to little bit go backwards. This panels. Yeah. This is perfect. Don't touch the camera. You are holding with your hand. It looks.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, you don't have a stand or a book which supports this?
No, that's no, I don't.
Oh, okay, fine then. Then you have to keep adjusting. Yeah, this is fine. If you can hold like this, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, this is perfectly fine. Yeah, this is very good. So don't.
I won't move.
No, you can move. Don't move the camera. Okay. Nalesh?
Yeah, okay, sir. Ready, 10 seconds.
Okay.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another weekend edition of Spotlight. In today's Spotlight, we see the Biden-Harris administration policies and how they affect at home and in the world. Let's go back and visit what's happening in the last 4 weeks and even now. Last 1 week and now. President says elections are far from over and Trump campaign is conducting its efforts to stall this election and then reversing their way by filing lot of lawsuits. And some of them are in their favor, and most of them are not being admitted. We will see what is going to happen in the next week. We will have a clarity about the lawsuits only in the next week. While this is happening, President-elect Joe Biden is trying to build his transition team, and he's already named one of his task force heads, Dr. Vivek Murthy, for the coronavirus task force. Until now, we had an outsider of Washington, that is Trump. Even now, Trump is there. And then who speaks what he thinks, and then who does what he speaks. And now we are going to have a career politician who has been politician for 47 years. And he's a very seasoned politician in the sense seasoned politicians are supposed to speak very sweet and the actions are less than what they speak. In other words, what they speak is not what they are, and what they do is not what they speak. So now let's see what's going to happen to USA at home, outside the world, by looking at the principles or the policies that Mr. Biden is going to employ in the United States in the coming days. We have with us to discuss Lucy Panos. She's a Republican chair for Middlesex County from New Jersey. And we have Rao Kalwala and Vishal Madan. Good evening to all of you. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you.
Okay. So let us talk this climate issue, which has been one of the foremost things that would have tilted the election this way or that way, except for what they are fighting for. The votes are not legitimate and things like that. Okay. Let us talk about the climate change. Biden says that the first thing that he would do is he is going to inform United Nations that he is going to join in the Paris climate deal. And as for some experts say, Paris climate deal is one-sided in the sense it is against the United States of America. If it were to be implemented, the people in the United States of America will spend at least $20,000 each of them from their pockets indirectly. But what is going to be achieved in 2050? Nothing. See, the countries like Trump's statement, like India is filthy or whatever, and China, they have been given a lot of concession to these countries, which means that they are not going to reduce the carbon emissions than what they are reducing now. That means the rate of reduction has been given discount. So that is why Trump has withdrawn from Paris deal, because it's not fair for us. The moment America entered Paris deal, what they have done is they have stopped energy production and America has become energy deficient. And during Trump era, America became energy sufficient. You know what it means by energy sufficient and what it means by energy deficient. So now let us take the opinions of Miss Lucy Panos. Tell us about what would happen if Biden is going to join in Paris Accord.
I think the other countries will once again start abusing us and not giving us our due. We have become sufficient without them. We showed them that they must join us they just can't take our money and do what they want with it. And that's what has been going on. And I hope that does not, I hope Biden does not allow that. If that's what he chooses to do, and I don't know if he will have the power, because we still have the Senate, and there'll have to be lots of discussion on that.
Mm-hmm. Rao, your views about what would happen to us when we join the Paris Accord, at home, outside?
Yes, definitely. I see that U.S. role is very much needed in the Paris Accord, and as it's stated, to zero emission from the energy pollution, and we already started solar and other initiatives, and also we need to believe U.S. as we exported our manufacturing to mostly to China and some to India. either we do it here or somewhere else. The emission is emission. So we need to take that responsibility. And also, if you look at various other methane emissions started from the Arctic, and climate is looking pretty bad. So whether it is a Paris Accord or not, US definitely have to take a fair share for the coming years. And also, if you want to bring back our manufacturing slowly back to US, we need to be prepared. That should be the environment should not be a showstopper. So given in
Rao, I just want to interrupt here. Bringing the jobs here and then joining Paris Accord are two contradicting things. For bringing job here, manufacturing jobs to this country, you need energy. And we are not ready with non-fossil energy yet. And only energy that is abundant is fossil fuel energy, and which Biden is expected to stop producing the moment he gets into administration. So these are two contradicting things. If you want to bring the jobs, you have to have energy, or you have to buy energy from outside the country, which means you are making somebody else rich, and then you are making your products costlier because you are buying energy, you are manufacturing your products here. Both the things are going to increase the price of each product. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I agree with you. So in a sequence of things, first we need to be part of the Paris Accord, and as Biden said, we need to depend on solar, other energy, and then meet the standards. By 2030, I think we have a certain requirement to meet the requirement, and 2050, it will be zero emission. So given those two things, US being a superpower, being in that, we gain a lot of respect from the world, and at least a promising direction that US can, under Biden administration, we can gain that. Yes, it's going to cost. There is a huge amount is set planned for this, and I support Paris Accord.
Vishal.
Yes, so I'll say simply one thing. Yes, United States should be the leader, but United States should not be the guinea pig. We should not be the ones spending trillions of dollars and rest of the world is not doing their part. Then there is no point in joining the Paris Accord again. Yes, again, we will be doing the same thing. We will be reducing our emissions, but rest of the world is doing the same way that they are going, and then we get nothing. So yes, we can be the leaders, but we cannot be the guinea pig. So we should be very careful when we decide to rejoin the Paris Accord. We should not be just blindly rejoining the Paris Accord, my view.
I want again one more point I would like to say. The moment you join Paris Accord, you are supposed to stop your fracking and then drilling in the public lands. You are supposed to stop it. That means US should comply to whatever Paris Accord is from day one. That's why we lost a lot of jobs in the Rust Belt. That's why Trump came into being power. Okay, coming back to the other part of this is India and China, which are the most, which are the countries which produce most pollutants. They have been given money plus time until 30, which means there is no level playing ground to US workers and US factories. And if somebody wants to start a factory, Biden wants to subsidize for factories which are going to produce. He has to subsidize, he has to pay Paris deal, and again, he has to pay India, and he has to pay China for all these things. Do we have enough money? As it is, we have $4 trillion debt to the government for this coronavirus relief. Go ahead. Vishal.
Yeah, so I was saying the same thing, like, we all know that world is going through this pandemic. And in this pandemic right now, our foremost priority is to bring the economy back, get the jobs back, right? Support the small business. At the same time, if world is not committing to this low carbon emission, my view is why should US take the leadership in that? Let everybody commit to that, and then we come on the level ground, on the fair play. Then we sign the Paris deal. At this point, our priority should not be that. Our priority should be, let's get back to where we were before COVID. That should be our priority, not the climate at this point, my view.
Okay, Rao, your final remarks on climate change policy of Biden.
Yes, climate change is definitely should be our top priority as we see it day by day. And also when we had this continuous rains in back home in Hyderabad, I read in detail. I've been following this for quite some time. Uh, there is a rapid decline of this um, of the global warming, and that is the reason why we are seeing that even beyond comprehension of some of these scientists, it's going in a very harsh condition. So it's a we need to start, and I want the U.S. to be the U.S. to be the leader, and maybe reposition the whole Paris Accord deal. But coming out of it is a huge risk to the humanity.
I truly
I have a
understand.
question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
I have a question here. Yeah, what if United States is the leader and rest of the world is not doing their part? What do we do in that case?
Right. Once we take the leadership role and show them, reposition differently and show the cost and the benefit, and time to time evaluate how the global warming is changing, additional things are adding up. So all that need to be taken into and sit together and make it as a joint effort. We cannot say that this is not my country and it's your country. So the whole area is in one. It's a one big thing, one environment. So we need to put that in perspective and work towards it.
No, we have to say this is our country. The other countries are not following. Here, we cannot join the Paris Accord or whatever without making our country better. We do, by the way, we do have solar power building in our country. I know personally here in New Jersey, there are at least up in Warren County 2 solar farms that contribute the towns. They support the towns with the monies. We have one in Old Bridge. We have to do in our own backyard. We can't take care of the rest of the world and just stop all our production, fracking, and all that. We can move forward with solar and energy, and we are doing that. We just can't put up our hands and say, okay, we'll join you now again. No, we have to take care of our own, and then we can take care of others. Our economy is a must. We must build our economy from COVID. Businesses are closing. That has nothing to do with climate change. We need to build our country and our economy back.
Okay, I have some figures here. This is about USA. US emissions of criteria air pollutants that impact human health and environment declined by 74% between 1970 and 2018. US net greenhouse gas emissions dropped by 13% from 2005 to 2017. This is all possible by our technologists who are producing the most cleanest equipment, and then that kind of equipment. So US is already, for its GDP, is achieving much more than what other countries are doing. But why should US has to spend money and then give a lot of time? And at the same time, US should stop immediately. Next second itself, it has to stop producing its fossil energy, whereas the rest of the countries have 30 years, rather 15 years to get used to a acceptable level of emission, not net zero emission. So this is going to be a huge burden on USA. And then USA is not as rich as people think, but the richest country being China. And why should the US pay China for reducing greenhouse emissions is one point. So this is what is going to affect in the coming days if Biden-Harris administration come into being. Okay, let us take our next topic being China. Okay, before that, let me play some advertisements. Okay, welcome back. About the China and US relations. And Trump has been accused by Biden team that he is not, whatever he has done is not right. Whatever he has done by increasing the tariffs and then making China buy the farm products of USA, and the farmers of USA got benefited. But what Biden says is Trump did not exercise enough power to curb the practices of China in its production and other things. One is being devaluation of their currency and then using non labor friendly procedures. So this is what Biden wants to curb in China's territory. First of all, is he capable of doing or attacking or making China, give a mandate to China, you have to do this? And then will he be able to achieve what he has written in his plan? So this is what is the topic, and Mr. Panos.
Joe Biden has not done anything in 47 years to make China walk the line or toe the line. I don't believe he's capable of it, period. No, I don't think Joe Biden will have any. I think Trump did the right thing. He did our farmers a great service by making China buy our products. Joe Biden doesn't have the wherewithal to do that. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Rao, about China and then Biden's policies.
Yes.
He says one more thing. He says that Trump's broad tariffs are erratic and self-defeating, and he, instead of calls for targeted retaliation against China using existing trade laws and building a united front of allies, he warns that China is making massive investments in energy, infrastructure, technology that threaten to leave USA behind. This is what are the words of Biden. Will he be able to lead America to take over China? Is my question.
Yes. If you look at it, not just Biden, the Democratic Party presidential administrations, starting from Clinton to Obama, so there is a great synergy there. If not, we would not have progressed so well with China. When I look at through some of my friends who deal with that, with the Chinese manufacturing, the level of sophistication, the supply chain, global supply chain, the productivity, the prices, all that today made many billionaires in this country. And today US depends on China so much for each and every product. I think it's the number runs close to 600 billion or around that, our imports from China. So if we disrupt any of that in a haphazardly versus with a planned effort, we are going to hurt big in this economy. As Trump tried to raise the tariff 30% on about 200 billion worth of goods, that is itself would have make a disaster. A lot of businesses like Target, Walmart, they all get affected, and we lose a huge chunk of further disruption to our economy. So the relationship with China is at most essential as they start growing in the world, and as they not only with the US and India, their exports are all over the world. So we need to manage very diplomatically, and we need to work hand in hand. If not, there's going to be a huge risk to not only US as a neighboring country with India, with conflicts that are growing. I am very optimistic that with the Biden's experience, 40 years of experience dealing in the Asia, he would definitely set this right. And also I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Vishal.
Yeah. So in my view, dealing with China is a very tricky subject. There is no silver bullet to that. China, we all know that why its economy grew so much, because it became the manufacturing hub of the world. All the manufacturing went in there. Now, if we have to compete with China, we have to bring the manufacturing back. That's what President Trump started doing in first 4 years, bringing the manufacturing back, bringing the manufacturing jobs back to United States. That's the first way how we can counter China. Now, if we think that we go soft on China, like Mr. Rao was suggesting, we diplomatically deal with them, that's not going to work. China's ambition is, we have to understand, is they want to overpower United States. They want to be the superpower of the world. And diplomatically, I don't think there is any way we can deal with them. The only way is how President Trump was dealing with them, threatening or whatever way, or putting tariffs. We have to get the manufacturing back, and we have to bring them on the level playing ground. We have to put tariffs on them. So don't assume that we can diplomatically deal with them. If you do that, they will keep taking advantage of us, like they did for so many years, for 60, 100 years. They took advantage of the United States, and they'll keep doing that. I think, my personal opinion, Biden will go soft on that, and we will be in the same situation where we were a few years back. So if we have to change something in that aspect, we have to be hard on that. I'll use the hard word. We have to be hard on China.
While I agree with, okay, go ahead, Ms. Panos.
No, and China does have large manufacturing because they mistreat their workers. My God, it's like slave yet labor over there. And we want to deal with those people. We want to bring the productions back to our own country, where we have the pursuit of happiness. Those people work under hard conditions. We make our country, our people, and give them good working conditions and build our own economy. And then we hurt China in the pocket. We build our country, we open the doors for prosperity of our businesses, and we close the door on China's. We don't become dependent on them.
There's just one point to add here.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot compete with a country in manufacturing where there are no labor laws, no democracy, and they are treated like slaves. United States, we have human values. We can't compete with that kind of country. We can't have the manufacturing done there. If that's the way, we can never compete with them. We have to bring the manufacturing back to United States.
Okay, thank you.
So,
and then what? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Rao.
So we have if you look the dependency, just if you take one industry, pharmaceutical, with China, we have 80% of our pharma manufacturing is based in China. And pharma is highly, highly toxic. And also China revealed a lot of cancer cases in the recent times. So whether you do it here or elsewhere, it's a risky industry. And also the cost of medicine, if you look at in this country, it has reduced to the extent I cannot even believe. My cost of a 90-day supply these days are $1, $2 out of my pocket. I mean, never ever thought that is the advantage we have with China. Same thing with India. India is doing 90% of over-the-counter drugs in this country, supplies 90% of it. So we need to learn how to soften the relationship. Same time, we need to see that these environmental issues and also reveal our plan. What percentage of manufacturing we want to bring, and in a timeline, work with them. So we need to have a very diplomatic, close relationship with China to deal. We cannot just cut them overnight and have our 330 million people suffer without medicine.
Okay, one more issue is like China has its own new internal national security law. Under that new national security law, it's stopping the process of democratizing the Hong Kong region. And then when whatever Trump resisted, Biden said, whatever Trump is doing for democratic process in Hong Kong area is not sufficient. I would step up the pressure on China to make Hong Kong is a democratic region. So do you guys think that Biden will be capable of doing this kind of stepping up of pressure on China to democratize Hong Kong? Let us start with Rao.
Yes, I believe Trump is if you look at it, how they have did the nuclear deal with India and how they have worked between US and India to make it happen. That was Indians never thought that would happen. So Biden's diplomacy is not is a very well known, and he has a team of people he worked with as a senator and as a vice president. He has done remarkable job in the Asian continent, and I'm very optimistic that he would bring that Hong Kong issue to a very amicable way to both the countries.
Ms. Panos, your opinion on this one, please.
Quite honestly, I am not so familiar with the Hong Kong issue. All I know is that Joe Biden has been in government for 47 years. He has accomplished none of that. And I can only pray that we're not even sure if this election is over, but I pray that he has some people who know what they're doing will get things done, because he has done nothing.
One of the statement in one interview to CFR by Biden is that he has spent much more time than any other person with President Xi of China. So he thinks that he can influence the gentleman and then he can have his things done. That is one of the statement by Biden himself. Okay. And while Biden is one of the person who voted for in 2001 for the entry of China into World Trade Organization. And then he says now this TPP, which was not followed by Trump, would have put a check on China. So would he bring the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership Treaty deal again back, and then which he thinks is going to curb China or influence of China? Okay, or is it going to make other trans-Pacific countries more richer than America by making American more and more poorer? Your thoughts, Rao?
Actually, I don't have much knowledge about TPP. I can't contribute there.
About Mr. Biden's acquaintance with Mr. Xi, he says that he has more acquaintance than anybody else. So, will that help Biden influencing the Chinese man?
Yes, definitely. He has got a lot of experience dealing with Asian countries, and to be, with my observation, these Asian countries are looking to grow. They are not looking to conflict with the world. They are day by day they're becoming stronger in their ability to produce goods in a much cheaper and quality goods. And Asia is, US. We from US, we need to gain quite a bit with a solid, softened relationship, cordial relationship with even in the TPP. We need to show our leadership, because in the last few years we lost a lot of relationships in the world. Maybe our arrogance or whatever the reason, but we need to renew our relationship. Even we may not gain, but at least to show them our leadership in the world. Thanks.
Ms. Panos, will Biden be able to exercise influence on China's strongman?
I'm not sure how much of a relationship he has with China, unless it's getting somebody in his family a job. But he hasn't done anything. You keep on saying he's going to open the door. He's been there 47 years, and what has he accomplished? What relationships? He was part of the problem, not part of the solution. He helped China become the power they are by not acting. I'm sorry, I disagree, Rao, very much. I think it's that we need to show China that we will not put up with their stuff. Diplomacy, it's been tried. Yes, I'm not looking to have a world conflict, but economically, we need to build our own country. We have to show China that we don't depend on them. And then we'll sit down, they could sit down at the table.
Okay.
Ms.
Go ahead.
Panos, that freedom we anytime we'll have that freedom once to build our own nation. That's what I support. US should be given the technology. There's so much of automation. There's a very little dependency on the human beings. US is very much capable, but it's not going to happen overnight. Take some time. I don't think any country is going to stop us to build our capabilities, and that's the our Trump tried to started that, and I think it's a time for us to move forward aggressively and bring our manufacturing back to US.
Okay, again, I just want to ask Vishal his opinion, and before that, I want to just counter
Yeah,
your
so I
opinion.
just want to say about this Hong Kong issue. I think Rao just mentioned that Biden said he will step up the pressure on China. It's very hard for me to imagine how he will step up the pressure on China. And on the other side, he's saying about diplomatic things and soft approach and all that. What are the steps he will take to step up the pressure on China? I don't think he will be capable of stepping up any pressure on China. He will try the diplomatic way, and as Mr. Panos said, we tried the diplomatic way for so many years, and we all know the outcome, what came out. So I strongly feel we should do something different, and we should not be going back. We should be moving forward with China. We should not be going back.
Okay, fine. See, most of the things, again, Mr. Rao is saying, because he's a Democratic view, both of you are Republican views. So what he's saying is we have to bring the manufacturing jobs here. Again, bringing manufacturing jobs and the climate change and then spending money, subsidies, these are going to cost a lot to USA, that too if you buy energy from outside of USA. And again, I want you guys to watch one of Democratic produced video by Michael Moore. I think he co-produced it, or he presented the video about the myth of non-fossil fuels. If you are using solar power here, that means you are contaminating the environment somewhere else. If you are using wind power now, you are doing somewhere something else. So it is not that when you say I'm using solar power, it's a clean energy everywhere. It's not so clean. Whatever the cells, solar cells that we use in production, they have to be thrown out after some time. And then the amount of time it takes, they're not biodegradable. Okay, that's a big mess by itself to dispose them off. And they cannot be recycled also, it looks. So please go and watch about the myth about recycling fuels, okay, and non-fossil fuels, the video about Michael Moore, which has been recently released. And I was surprised to see that video. And our next topic is Middle East. Before we go ahead, let us take a small break. Welcome back. About Middle East, Israel, and the peace deals that Mr. Trump has done. Okay, one of the Biden's comment is, I'm a long-time friend of Israel, and I'm also Zionist. I practice Zionism. So these are the statements. And while he appreciates and then supports moving the capital to Jerusalem, okay, the Trump's decision, this is at this stage, and the Prime Minister of Israel has waited until Sunday afternoon and today to congratulate him. Those are the kind of the relationships that Biden and the Netanyahu share with each other. You know that Israel Prime Minister is very close with Trump, not because of anything. Whatever the former presidents have promised and not done, Trump has done. One is he moved the American embassy to Jerusalem is one thing. He also recognized Golan Heights. These are the two major achievements, and without any resistance from Middle East. And moreover, Trump has brought at least 3 countries to sign a deal so that they recognize and then communicate with each other, with Israel, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, I think Sudan. These are the 3 countries. So what is going to happen if the Israel issue is solved? Middle East is completely in peace, which means there is no terrorism. Okay, there are a lot of things that are surrounding Israel issue. So to you, Ms. Panos, what would happen in the era of Harris and Biden to Israel? To Middle East in specific, and Israel or Middle East, you can say anything.
I'm not so familiar with worldwide politics. However, Trump did bring the embassy to Jerusalem. That part of the world has been fighting since the parting of the Red Sea. And he has brought peace over there, to at least made some progress by bringing the embassy. You know, Trump grew up in a very elite atmosphere, you know, private schools and things like that, where many of these leaders of countries sent their children. He knows how to deal with these people, not just through government like Biden and doing nothing. He actually learned with some of these people as a child. If you look to see who sent their children to the same schools, he knows how to approach these dictators or these leaders, because actually he grew up with some of them at various times in his life. He was not a politician, lifetime politician. He was Trump. He did promise to bring the embassy, and he brought it, unlike the presidents before him.
Yeah, in fact, all the presidents have said so. We would want to move from wherever it is to Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, but none of them did. It's just a matter of doing it. Okay, so they were unable to do such a simple thing. So will now Biden and Harris administration be able to bring peace into the Middle East? Vishal.
Yeah, so I'll say that President Trump has done a historic work here, like by recognizing Jerusalem as the capital and helping Israel build the peace deal, and the Muslim countries, especially Saudi, recognizing Israel. That's a historic moment here. And I don't want Biden to undo that, because Israel is our ally. We should protect our ally. We should look at their interests. And I think if Biden administration does anything to undo that, that will be disastrous for our country. We should refrain from doing that. I don't hope that he will go further and do more for Israel, but I don't want him to undo the things President Trump has done.
No. Definitely, this administration will not undo, Vishal. The reason is every other Republican as well as Democratic administration, including that of Obama, they have not denied the fact that the capital, the embassy should be moved to Jerusalem. So they will not deny that. But are they going to take the peace deal that Trump has made further to include more Arab countries?
I'll answer
Trump's, go ahead.
I'll answer that. By undoing, I don't mean that he will change the capital again. I don't mean that he will say that the peace deal is void. No. What I mean by that is he will bring the Palestinian authorities to the table and talk to them and take their demands and bring up something which is not acceptable to Israel. That's what I'm saying. So that's what is like undoing the whole thing that President Trump has done. If he accepts some of the Palestinian Authority demands and pressures Israel to do those things, I feel that is undoing what President Trump has done for Israel.
To you, Mr. Rao.
So in the Middle East, what we have seen is very preliminary. We don't know the consequences of what's going to come out of it. But moving capital to Jerusalem is a risky. What would be the down the line, how people look at it? And also I see that the economy is breaking in UAE. There are a lot of bankrupts. Economy is very weak. So the whole Middle East economy with the oil demand going down, I don't know how that is going to change the politics and the relationships. And also I see recently some initiative in Turkey by President Trump. I don't know what is the behind the scene, what is the Turkish initiative. But he may have started with a good intention, but we have seen Middle East is never a stable. They always have issues, particularly with the new royal in Saudi. We see him very aggressive. So we have to wait and see. But anytime I have a trust in Biden to soften the relationship there.
Ms. Panos, any thoughts about this one? Okay, we went through you. And then there are again certain concerns, like when Biden has given the interview during his candidacy, that he was very concerned about 2-3 issues. One being what Mr. Rao was telling is to keep the nuclear power or nuclear arsenal in Turkey is one thing, because Turkey's president is friendly with Trump. That is one of the concerns. The second thing is withdrawal of the forces from Syria. Okay, so this is the second concern. The third concern is most actively opposed concern was getting away from Iran's nuclear deal. So these are the 3 things that Biden unequivocally condemns Trump. Okay, Trump's idea is to alienate Iran amongst the Middle Eastern countries. That is the reason he is bringing Israel. He is bringing other Arab countries to sign a pact with Israel so that at some point of time Iran is alienated. Okay, unless this effort is taken forward, unless whatever Trump has done has taken forward, okay, and then obviously if I were Biden, I would possibly have the Trump team, whoever have done this, including Jared Kushner and then Mike Pompeo, in my team, so that they would continue, so that there will be peace. When there is peace in Israel, when there is a peace in Middle East, America's spending on wars will reduce and the same amount can be spent for citizens of America. So that is the long-term plan of Trump. And he always says, we don't want to go to the territory of somebody else and then fight wars. That is what is his standard statement. So now, Biden wants to join, rather re-invite Iraq into the deal. He wants to go into the Iraq nuclear deal so that Iran will not manufacture the nuclear weapons. So that is what is his premise to start with the Middle Eastern policy. So to you, Vishal, whether this premise of Trump and then Biden and then Obama era's policy will bring peace to the Middle East, or Trump's policy of alienating Iran among other Arab countries is going to bring the policy, and will Biden be able to continue this policy?
So let's go back to what Obama did. He made the Iran deal. He sent lots of cash, billions of dollars of cash to Iran. What did we get? You know this leader, Soleimani, he kept on killing American soldiers for so long, and thousands of soldiers after the Iran deal. And what President Trump did, he gave the orders to eliminate Soleimani. So that's the clear difference. That tells you what's the difference between how Republicans function and what's the policy of Democrats. You make a deal, you give them the cash, they make nuclear warheads, they kill the American soldiers, and then a Republican president comes and he orders to eliminate the leader itself. So if we again want to go to that way, that we make a deal with Iran again and give them the cash, we are hurting ourselves. We are again here hurting ourselves, our service members, our soldiers. So my feeling, we should never go that way. We should not make same kind of deal with Iran. We should be hard with Iran, and we should deal how President Trump was dealing with Iran.
Okay, to you, Ms. Panos.
Michelle, you say that so well. You're a hard act to follow because I agree 110%. We cannot go back to the Obama deals and what we did with Israel. We just can't step back. It might sound like a nice thing to do, but they're not trustworthy. Just like China is not trustworthy. We were moving forward so well. I hope that continues.
Okay, Rao. Rao, to you. Okay, I think we lost the connection with Mr. Rao. So basically what my opinion is that whatever Trump has done in alienating Iran and then bringing all the Arab countries in pact with Israel is definitely going to make the region more peaceful. We would like to see this seasoned politicians would continue the way Trump has done, or they are going to have talk only, no action. Let's see, wait and watch. Coming to North Korea, we have seen Trump saying that Obama told him in his briefing that you might end up in war with Korea. That's not precisely what Obama told Trump. That could be one of the biggest thing that you may face in your administration. But we have seen people have thought a lot of things about Korea is going to send its missile to American lands and things like that. But nothing has happened. In fact, President and then the dictator, they met twice, one in denuclearization zone between North and South Korea, and another time somewhere in Singapore. So ever since, no bombing has happened. So what you think will be the policy on North Korea, or is it worth talking at all? North Korea is such a small country. Is it worth talking at all? Or what will Biden do in his administration about North Korea? That is the point to discuss, Mr. Panos.
President Trump made
ahead.
great strides with Korea. Yeah, and Jerusalem. President Trump should have got the Nobel Peace Prize for sure. You talk diplomacy, he has brought diplomacy to countries that hasn't been in years, Korea and Israel. I think if the path that President Trump has taken with Korea is continued, as the path that taken with Jerusalem is continued, I think the world will be a better place, starting with our country.
To you, Vishal, about North Korea policy and what...
I love the way how President Trump handled this North Korean dictator. You have to speak the language of the other person. The way the other person is behaving, you have to behave in the same way. And that's exactly what President Trump did. He started with the comment, fire and fury. We all know that. He said there'll be a fire and fury in North Korea if they do something. And you can recall that once he made the comment, the things went down. The rhetoric went down. And he actually came down and he said, yeah, we're ready to talk. And then this whole summit thing happened. So I love the way President Trump dealt with this whole thing. Not a single penny spent. It was all on the talks. And then at the end of the day, as you said in the beginning, nothing happened. No attack, nothing, no bomb attack or no nuclear attack, nothing happened. And by the way, on this particular topic, we know that we don't know the capability of North Korea. We don't know if they can reach here mainland United States or not. But one thing we know for sure is they're very close to Seoul, South Korea. And if they launch something from there, that can kill millions of people in Seoul or South Korea. And South Korea is our ally. So we can't just be sitting assuming that, oh, nothing is going to happen to us. But there can be like a situation. If they do something, there will be a massacre in Seoul, South Korea. So we can't be ignorant or indifferent to that. So for that, we have to deal in a way how President Trump dealt with this dictator in the exact amount of tone what he deserved.
Okay. To you, Rao, I think we missed you for a while. In the
Yeah, I
previous
lost
question.
her. Yeah,
Okay.
I lost her. So, as I've been from the beginning, my thing is during the Biden presidency, I would not want to see any serious conflicts with this country, and manage as much as through the diplomacy with the diplomacy, and our focus. We should not be distracted at the home front. Put most of our focus on the COVID and the economy, and um, soften the relationship with China, and that should subside most of it. And uh, so I have seen that, right from Clinton to Obama to I would like to say same thing with Biden. The Democrats are very well in managing through the great diplomacy, and those are our key strengths, and we gain great respect, and particularly in the COVID situation in the world. And also the economy is not well in most of the countries around the world, and we need to recover first. Uh, and the population is also growing tremendously, particularly in India. So, and the global warming is another major issue. We cannot neglect that. So, given all that, I think the Korea can be put in a North Korea can be put in the back burner, and not to worry much. If it comes to that extent, I think with the Biden's relationship with the China and India, he will definitely have some talks there.
Okay.
Just one comment here.
Yeah, go ahead,
Just one
Vishal.
comment here. The day this North Korean dictator realizes that United States is too much busy into their home stuff, they have a weak leader, they will threaten us. And then we will have no option but to deal with them. Mark my words, the day they realize that we are weak, we have a weak leadership, they will come and threaten us. And that's what the situation President Trump avoided by giving it back.
Okay. My conclusion on Korea is that ever since Clinton's administration, they tried to cajole Korea, and then they sent a lot of money, and then Korean dictators did not heed to whatever US said, and finally he became the biggest dictator of the world. And at least to the extent when Trump and then Kim were meeting each other, something has been done. There is completely nothing. As Biden puts it, there is no missile has been destroyed, and there is no inspector of USA on the ground of Korea. But at least they have spoken to each other. And as Rao said, we have to do with diplomacy. And at the same time, Democrats were criticized Trump meeting a dictator twice. Okay. So these are again the two contradicting things. Before that, we would like to go to another issue, which is to my heart is more important, is India and US relations. Okay. I just want you to candidly tell what would happen to India and US relations with reference to Pakistan, with reference to China, and with reference to the Quad that is being signed by Mike Pompeo. Recently, Mike Pompeo has signed a deal with India. So what is going to be, in totality of all these things, I would like your views. What would happen to India and US relationships? Vishal, you can go ahead to begin
Yeah,
with.
so my view on that is, yes, President Trump has a very good relationship with India. And we all heard that Biden and Kamala Harris made some statements talking about some human rights conditions in Kashmir. But my view is when they come to power, they will get the briefings from the securities and everyone, and they will realize they have to work with India. In Southeast Asia, if United States has to counter China, the only force there which can counter China is India. So whatever they said in the political rallies and all, I'm not accounting on that. When they come to power, they have no option but to deal with India in a nice way and give them whatever they need to counterbalance them in Southeast Asia. So I think on the ground, nothing is going to change. Yes, the personal relationship what President Trump had with Modi was great. I don't know if Biden will have that or not, but on the ground, in terms of the military cooperation and all, nothing will change. It will stay same.
To you, Ms. Panos.
Again, I'm not so familiar with the relationships of many countries, but what I do know is that what India has contributed to this country. We talk about the pharmaceuticals. My grandparent, I'm second generation from Europe, and they did their contributions of building, of architect. Well, the Indian community has now, in the last 20, 30 years, contributed so much to the pharmaceutical, to the IT, to the doctors. So again, I'm not so familiar with our relationship with India, but I am in awe of what India has contributed to this country and our prosperity. And I'd like to see that to continue.
Okay. Rao, your opinion.
Yes, I definitely see that with Biden's presidency, the relationships are going to go much more. I will bring it to your attention that there is a GSP, you must have heard, generalized system preference, I believe. So for all the exports from India, we get certain discounted tariffs. India had that for several years, and Trump has canceled that. That has created a great disappointment in India, and particularly with the relationship Trump and Modi has. And with a renewed, with reinstating India, Biden mentioned that he's going to reinstate that. And then with that, India will have a lot more confidence on Biden. And also with the Pakistan, Pakistan being under the great control of China with China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, it's a more of it's becoming a single voice there. And then when it comes to India's friction with China, that need to be subsided under the Biden's administration. Once that does, and Pakistan will also slow down, and then India and the US can have stronger business relationships, and also the strategic partnership. We already have, Obama administration has given us a strategic defense partnership where we have access to all the defense equipment that US builds. So that has established. Even the visit that US Secretary made with India during that was also part of the Obama established, if you look at that. So there's quite a bit has done during Obama. I'm expecting a lot more to happen during Biden administration. And both the countries have a lot to share with each other and build a strong business and defense partnership.
Yeah, we came to end of the session. Before I have a closing remark, thank you very much for being here. And in this show will now be twice in a week on weekends. And to conclude, the Indians have voted in California for racial-based reservation in educational institutions, which is strongly opposed by Republicans. But they have voted for Democrats. Who put the rule? Democrats have put the rule. Okay, again, over the country in America, 68% of Indian population have voted for Biden. Only 33% of people have voted for Trump. And then you have to, Indians, the problem with Indians is if they are citizens here, they have two nations. For their purpose, whatever is the purpose, for example, take the case of race-based reservations, they want to oppose, and then other things, they want to embrace Democrats while they are conservatives at their home. So hope this is going to change. and then we will definitely bring a change in next 4 years. If Trump is not winning the legal battle, I think he will fight for again after 4 years. Rather, he'll continue to fight, and then he will bring back his legacy back into power. Thank you all. We'll wish you good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.